Hello, how are you? Welcome to my channel. My name is Ruth and today we are going to be doing my Pan Those eyeshadows. See, I'm so excited. Pan Those eyeshadows update. The reason I'm so excited is because I have 3 to roll out. Well, 4 technically, because one is in my Panda palette. So I don't know, I don't get as excited about that one for some reason. But yeah, we've got some rollouts. Pan Those eyeshadows was created by Alexi, and I will link her channel down below. She, I believe, is doing it again this year, but I haven't seen many videos from her for some reason, so I don't know what's happening. But I will also link Rebecca Morgan because she was my inspiration. She was the person that I first saw this on, and therefore was the one who inspired going down the rabbit hole and made me want to do it this year. With me personally, I'm not always looking to hit pan and shadows, mainly because this is my first year doing this. Maybe in further years down the line I'll get a bit more confident and kind of, you know, be more persistent in hitting pan and shadows. But this is very much a way for me to get use out of my collection, which I have not been doing. I would buy a palette, I might use it once or twice, it went into the drawer. Buy a palette, use it once or twice, into the drawer. So this is helping me focus on what I have, making me realize what I have, so that if I do go shopping, that I go, well, you have that. You just used it in your Pan Those eyeshadows. And helping me to find out what eyeshadows I really enjoy, what formulas I really enjoy. I seem to have a lot of issues with reacting to certain types of eyeshadows, and I'm trying to work out what that is. Unfortunately, it really seems to be shimmer eyeshadows, which breaks my heart a little bit because I love a shimmery eyeshadow. But such is life. Anywho, on to what is happening with my collection at the moment with my Pan Those eyeshadows. So the first one that I have, we'll do the Charlotte Tilbury Vintage Vamp palette. I wasn't a major fan of this palette, I'll be honest with you, but I've got a lot of use out of it by putting it into this project, which of course is the whole point. So this is how we're looking. We haven't hit pan yet on anything, but that's okay. I've got way more use out of this palette than I have in the 2 years I've owned it prior to this. My apologies. My allergies are just causing me to weep a little bit, even though I have medication now for it from the doctor. It's just not cutting it. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, I had put this in with the goal of using it 20 times. And at the last update, I had only used it 9 times because I've been focusing on other shadows, but I had 11 times left to use it. I've actually ended up using it 15 times. Yeah, 15 times. So I'm thrilled with that. It's been a great eyeshadow for work. So what I would use, sorry, the shade I had. Oh, good God, Ruth. This was the shade I had. That is it there. And that is it on the hand. So it's a kind of a dark purpley shade. Of course, I've nothing to wipe my hands on, good girl. A purpley shade. Brownie purple, I suppose I called it. What I predominantly used it as was a liner. Now, I also would use it the odd time to deepen up the outer corner of the eye using a kind of a bigger, fluffier brush, because I don't like it to be too dark and intense, especially for work. But yeah, I actually ended up really enjoying it. And this shade here too, and this shimmery shade up here, was lovely as well. I'll put it on the inside because I don't want to mix it up. Yeah, lovely shimmery shade. Really enjoyed that as well. Now, when I say I really enjoyed it, I would not purchase another one of these quads. In my humble opinion, they are not worth the money. That's just my opinion. The only product of Charlotte Tilbury's that I would ever consider repurchasing, which is highly unlikely because her cruelty-free status is flip-flopping all over the place every day and I don't necessarily trust her. Or the brand, I should say. The only one of her products I would consider repurchasing is the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I do thoroughly enjoy that product. It is a beautiful product. But I have a face powder, I have an eyeshadow palette, I had a lip liner, the Pillow Talk lip liner. I have something else. Oh, the Film Star Bronze and Glow. I think that's it. But apart from Hollywood Flawless Filter, that's the only one that I think is worth the price tag. I do not think the rest are. Again, my humble opinion. Anyway, all that to say that I have used this more than the allotted times, and because my uniform is black and kind of maroon in colour, it actually works really well. So yeah, I'm delighted that I got more use out of that, like I said, than I had done in the whole 2 years previous to owning it. Next up, we will have my XX Revolution. So this is a sister brand subsidiary. I don't know how they do it. Revolution. It's by Revolution. It's just they're more pricier faction of the or arm of the company. Anyway, this is Exposed, so X Exposed. And as you can see, this was the shade I had here. So this shade, you can see I hit pan it, but it swatches much nicer, I feel, than it goes on the eyes. On the eyes at the moment, when you swatch it, it kind of melts together. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks nicer swatched out than it does by either putting it on with my finger or putting it on with a brush, a synthetic brush. It's very hard to pick up. Typically, I would use one of these little doodads, the little felt tip applicators, or my finger. I think of everything, this probably worked the best at picking up the product. And then I'd nearly have to go in with my finger afterwards and kind of smooth it out, if that makes sense. Otherwise, it looked very chunky. And the formula, it's quite squishy. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, to me it is quite a squishy, nearly Super Shock Shadow Formula-esque. And I have come across that in other Revolution products, that they have that kind of a formula. But all of that's to say is, yes, I hit pan on it, but it was quite easy to hit pan. And what I mean by that is, because it was so squishy, you kind of squished into the product. But also, I needed an awful lot of it to get it to go on the eyelids. Like, I had this down as the goal. Okay, the goal was to hit pan on it. But I would say I've only used this, I'm nearly certain it was 7 times, maybe 8 times. 8 times, of course, including today. And I've hit pan on it. And that is purely because I needed so much of it to get it to work. And it was finicky. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you can tell me yourself, I don't know, my lighting isn't the best today, I do apologise. It's a pretty finish, but it is very glittery. There is an awful lot of fallout. It is hard to get rid of the fallout, because, like, even though I have to put a glitter glue down to keep it in my eye, I cannot seem to get it off my face. So yeah, I've hit pan, I've hit goal. It is what it is. I've learned a lesson. Don't necessarily know that I would repurchase one of those quads. Like I said, they're on the dear side for Revolution. I think that's nearly €20. Don't know what you're at, Revolution. Want to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, no, I'm not cool enough. Anywho, on to this is the Beef Perfect Cosmetics Carnival 3 Love Tahiti Stacey Marie Makeup Artist Palette. Beautiful, beautiful. Just an absolutely beautiful palette. I know Stephanie Lyons would concur. The shade that I had was Tahiti Green, which was this beautiful lime green shade here. I hope you can see it. I can't see what I'm doing. And I'll give you a little swatchy. Oh, lime shimmery goodness. Now, I'm sure you know, I'm Irish. March was Paddy's month. Paddy's Day was in the month of March. I know, I'll get out there. And there was a lot of green looks going on. Green looks for work, green looks for YouTube, just playing around with greens. I just enjoyed it thoroughly. And this was just the perfect inner corner highlight for a bit of real fun. It was lovely as a bottom lash liner. It was lovely as a center of the lid brightening up shade. Just beautiful. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to play around more with this palette, because I really I'll be honest, I predominantly what did I do? I predominantly stuck to the greens with this palette. Because of the month that was in it, because of the shade that I had in my pan, those eyeshadows. So all of that was to say, I had put it in wanting to hit a goal of 15 uses. I had used it 11 times up to the last one, so I only had 4 uses left, but I used it another 10 times because I just, like I said, there was just a multitude of ways to use it, and for the month that was in it. Now obviously I have a pan because, you know, saying all that and all the times I used it, it was only for inner corner highlights, it was only for bottom lash line, it was only for a dot in the center of the lid. So it's not like it was really getting savage use altogether. It was just a routinely kind of tapping into kind of shade. Does that make sense? Of course it does. You know exactly what I'm on about. You always know what I'm on about. Next, we have my, no, I'll leave that to last. I go into my Tatty Beauty palette. So this is it here, looking so grubby. Yeah, not keen on the packaging if I'm being honest. But yeah, we got the Matte Story shade, which is this orange shade here. And I have set a goal of 20 uses. I'll be honest, I was focusing on everything else, so this didn't really get much use. I've only used it 4 times this month. That is it there. This is another one now. The shade itself is fine. It's quite pigmented. It's definitely a look, if that makes sense. Now, having said that, one of the girls in work said, oh my god, I love your eyeshadow today. And I really had this buffed out into the crease with a big fluffy brush, but then had really patted it onto the eyelid with a flat shader brush, and just as a one color look. And I had a bit of brown eyeliner on then just to kind of blend it out a bit, or to deepen it around the lash line. But I did try to use this shade, which is the kind of shimmery shade, and I have to say again, I feel like my eyes, this was a different day now to just the all matte look. It is such a beautiful color, I love it, but again, my eyes were in the horrors. They were weeping. Now I know they're weeping anyway because of the weather and pollen and all that crack, but they were weeping, but they were kind of burning as well. And when I say burning, I know this is not a way to phrase it, but it's like a cold burning or a wet burning. My eyelids never feel dry when I have it on. Let me know if you've experienced this, because I really don't know how to explain it otherwise. And what happens then, it's like, I think it's maybe because my eyes weep so much when it's on, that it really gets caught on the lashes and then transfers onto the lid, which then makes the whole situation up here worse, and which then in turn seems to eventually make it go dry and cracky kind of, and you can nearly pick it off. So it's just, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit heartbreaking because I love eyeshadow and I don't want to have this happen. Like, why? Not fair. Anyway, this now will be my focus shade for next month. If you're wondering, I have the glitters all taken out and put into a separate palette, kind of a magnetic palette that I have all my glitters in, just because it makes the palette very messy and glitter gets into everything otherwise. And I like having all my glitters together as well. But yeah, so I've only, what did I say, I've used it 4 times? Yeah, 4 times. So I still have, it's a 20 use goal on it, so I still have 16 uses to go on that one. So yeah, we'll see how we go. I don't know, and maybe I will get the 16 uses out of it. It's getting a bit warmer here, so maybe kind of a fiery orangey look might be cool. And I did like that day that I did the full matte look. That actually was really nice. And like I said, I did get a comment that from one of the girls in work that's into makeup, kind of, that she thought, oh, that's a kind of a cute look. So we'll see. So that one is staying in. So I put it on this hand so you can see what's staying in. My Kat Von D KVD Vegan Beauty, or Cara Delevingne Beauty, as the girls on Beauty News call it. I mean, I don't know what they're at, but anyway. When I purchased it, it was still Kat Von D, a person who I would not support anymore. At the time, I didn't know any better, because we didn't know as much about influencers back then as we do now. We're educated now, so we've no excuse to be supporting some of the absolutely horrendous people that are on YouTube. I'm not going to go into it, but good God in heaven. I am going to go into it. This latest James Charles crack. Look, as far as I'm concerned, if something continuously keeps coming out about someone and by different people and different scenarios, there's something seriously wrong there. I mean, this young fella, and I will call him a young fella because he's much younger than me, but he is still an adult. He's a grown-ass man. And he more than likely has a lot of people around him offering him professional advice. And this person has been caught out more than once. Like, this all kicked off again a few months ago. And he said that, oh, well, you know, I didn't ask for ID and this, that, and the other. And yet you go on ahead a couple of months later and do the exact same thing. That to me is a pattern. That to me is showing me who you are. I didn't support him anyway because he's just not my cup of tea. He's just not my cup of tea. It's as simple as that. Everybody has who they like, and that's fine. But yeah, I'm sorry I came off topic there, but it's just, why is he still so popular? Why does YouTube still back him? Why is he still getting promoted and lauded? And why are the stands so fine? As Bailey Sarian says, get better idols. We'll move on. Anyway, this is the shade I had this month, and as you can see, I've hit pan. This basically was my skin tone. There was no real purpose to it, I'll be honest with you. Even when I put it on there now, you can't see it. I suppose it'd be fine if you weren't wearing any makeup and you just wanted something to cancel out your lids. Do you know what I mean by cancel out my lids? They're gone. Cancel out any lines or discoloration on your lids. And what I did find it handy for is if I made any mistakes that in my makeup, was great for buffing it out. Brilliant for that. So yeah, we've hit pan, we've moved on. So we now have 3 pans in this palette, which is fantastic. I've had this palette a long time. It's one of the oldest in my, what is going on with the lights? One of the oldest in my collection, so I'm delighted to be getting some consistently good use out of it and to be hitting pan as I go. So the shade that we're moving on to, yes, I know I'm going for easy shades, but that's, you know, I need to feel like I'm making good progress on this. So the shade I'm going for next is this guy here, which is very much a white shade. And I love this for inner corner highlights. I like it for inner corner highlights, brow bone highlight, you know, just everyday, day-to-day use. Fantastic. It's so easy to use. I just really, really enjoy it. So I would hope I should be able to hit pan on that fairly easily this month, because it's just a colour I use anyway, regardless of whether it's in a product or not. I don't know if you can maybe see, I have a fair bit of a dip going in it already because I do use it a lot. So yeah, that's my next shade in the Kat Von D that's going to be focused on. So then we have, I've already done the rolling in because unfortunately I'm filming on my phone at the moment, so I can't do it live with you, which is a pity, but it is what it is. So those are the shades that are rolling out. So there's 4, you can't see the last one, but there is 4 shades there. So 4 more palettes, or 4 more shades in my collection that have got some great love, which is brilliant. So the first palette that got rolled in is such an old palette. It is actually my oldest palette. It is the Urban Decay Nika 2. And this started it rekindled my love of makeup. My husband bought it for me, gosh, it must be 6 years ago now. And I went online to look up some tutorials to use it, and down the rabbit hole of YouTube beauty I went, and I have been in love with it ever since. My bank balance hasn't loved it because prior to this I literally had probably 1 of everything in my collection, as opposed to like 20 of everything in my collection now. But you know what, it's my hobby and I enjoy it, and it's not hurting anybody apart from my bank balance. So this palette actually has some pan in it already. So we have Foxy has pan in it, Booty Call and Tease. Now look, with this palette, 2 mattes in the whole palette. You know how times have changed. I mean, my Carnival palette has about 3 shimmers in the whole palette, the rest of it is all matte, so we've definitely learned. Now the shade that I've got is Busted, which is practically the darker shade in the palette. Good God in heaven. I'm going to give you a little bit of a swatch. Good God, it's so dark. I have to be honest, I haven't used this palette in a good while. I don't know if it's still okay for use. We will try it, we will see, and we will report back. Being realistic, this is going to be a liner shade for me. I just can't see myself doing a really smoky all over the eye look with it. One, I'm not going anywhere that would warrant a smoky eye, unless I maybe do it here for YouTube. And two, it's springtime and I'm not really keen on those kind of looks in the springtime. I prefer them for more autumn kind of winter looks. So that is coming in. I'm going to put a usage goal on it, and I'm not going to be stingy. I'm going to put a 20 usage goal on it, providing it works well, provided it hasn't it doesn't hurt my eyes or irritate my eyes or anything like that. If it does, then this is going to go in the bottom drawer of my collection as a keep for nostalgia purposes. Be the only one that'll be in there because it just has a lot of sentimental value for me. So in she comes. We'll see how we get on. So 20 uses on that. Apologies again. Just do a little Debbie. Next up is my Riviera palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I was so excited when this came in because I thought, oh yes, bright, lovely colours. Yay, can't wait. And then the shade that I get is Mediterranean. So kind of a shimmery navy blue, I want to say, or a grey blue maybe. So yeah, another dark colour. Although look, it doesn't look too dark there, sure it doesn't. Maybe in the lid it won't be too bad. Give it, oh, it's a bit chunky, bit of a chunky monkey. Yeah, so that's it there. So actually it looks a bit lighter swatched out, which is good because I was really kind of going, oh no, not another dark colour. I can't cope. But I will cope and it'll be fine. So again, we're going to go with a 20 usage goal on this one. So this shade up here, but I'm delighted that this palette is in because I really want to get more use out of it. I bought this last summer in TK Maxx and it was half price, I think. No, it was 30 quid, which, you know, for an Anastasia palette wasn't bad at all. And I've always been interested in the colour story in this. I thought it was a great fun colour story. So we're going to give that a whirl. Barely used that palette. I think I've used it twice since I bought it last year. And again, this is the purpose of this project. Last but no means least, we have the Master Eye palette. This is a palette from Primark, or Pennies as we call it here in Ireland. And I had... of all the lovely shades that are in it, I get the most dull kind of shade in it. So it's this shade here. So look at it, it'll be fine. It's a very good probably transition shade, I would imagine. Although it is quite dark. But with a fluffy brush, I'm sure, yeah, with a fluffy brush it'd be fine. So it's this shade here. So, look, it is what it is. I'm not going to get too bent out of shape about it. But that is my new colour story. So maybe not the most cohesive. I suppose this one and this one maybe will go together a bit. Look, I'll have fun with it. I don't mind so much if it's not cohesive. I don't need it to all be one look. I can play around with it. With this, I'll be honest, this palette isn't smelling the best anymore. So this will very much let me know if this palette is going to survive and stick in my collection, or whether it is going to be decluttered. And look, at if it gets decluttered, it's not the end of the world. It was €8, didn't cost a fortune. Again, I have this about 3 years, haven't used it a whole lot. The main kind of shade, I'll be honest with you, that kind of called to me were these ones down the bottom, the orange, the kind of reddish pink, and this kind of purpley colour down here. Yeah, they kind of called to me. But look, she's in. We'll give her a go. We'll give her 20 uses. We'll see how we get on. Again, if it ends up hurting my eyes, I'm not adverse to letting it go. You know, it's not the end of the world. So that is it, guys. That is my new colour story. Those are the shades coming out. I've had fun this month with this, especially this green. This is great fun. And I'm delighted that I got way more use out of this and ended up really enjoying it. So that's a win for me. But that is it. That is me done for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know how you're getting on down below. Are you doing this project, or is it a project and those eyeshadows? Maybe it is. Challenge, I don't know. If you're doing it here or on Instagram, let me know, because I would love to follow along. I adore these. I binge the bejesus out of these. I just adore them. So please let me know. And even if you're not, let me know down below how you're getting on with your eyeshadows. Are you hitting any pans in any eyeshadows? I do feel like even though we're in, you know, a pandemic and not leaving the house as much, if we do, we tend to be wearing a mask. Ergo, the eyes are getting a lot more focus. I feel a lot of people are focusing on the eyes a lot more. So are you in that boat? Are you doing the eyes a bit more? Let me know. Right, guys, I'll go for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. Slán.